He passed away at exactly 5:42 a.m. this morning. Room 304. The heart monitor let out one last flat tone that seemed to echo far longer than any sound should. The lavender diffuser by the window, a small attempt at comfort in a sterile place, was still puffing tiny clouds into the air. But the bed was still now. His chest no longer rose, and for a long time I couldn't move. I stood there, watching the stillness, thinking about the weeks that led up to this moment and the quiet truths that had spilled from a dying man's mouth like forgotten treasures. He was 67, gray hair curled just above his collar, eyes like weathered stone. His voice was deep but worn, like a vinyl record with soft scratches. When he first came in, he made a joke about the hospital food. That's how he introduced himself, by making the nurses laugh. But underneath that humor was a man who knew his time was shrinking. I'm a doctor. I've been one for 26 years. I've seen more than I ever expected to see. Death doesn't surprise me anymore, but some deaths make you pause. This one did, because over the span of 3 weeks, that man handed me a lifetime of wisdom, whispers of experience gathered across 6 decades, and I realized some people live long lives. Others live full ones. He managed both. The cancer had spread quietly. He didn't come in screaming or afraid. He said he felt tired. That was it. A tiredness in his bones, not the kind you fix with sleep. He said, "I think my time is near. But I've got stories left. You've got ears. Let's make a trade." The first thing he said to me when we were alone was, "Doc, do you know the cost of a missed chance? It's heavier than guilt. It lingers longer than grief." I asked him what chances he missed. He said, "Too many to name. But not all were mistakes. Some were just lessons." He spoke of love, not as a fairy tale, but as a muscle you have to keep exercising. He told me he once spent 3 years not talking to his brother over a petty argument about land. 3 years, he said, and I couldn't even remember what started it, but pride likes to keep score when no one's playing. He confessed to me that he spent a decade chasing promotions at a company where no one remembered his name once he left. I worked weekends, missed birthdays, thought I was building a legacy. Turns out I was just paying bills with my soul. He said there was a woman once, 1983. Her name was Clarissa. He still remembered how she laughed when she got nervous, how she always ordered food and barely ate it. He never told her he loved her. She deserved to hear it, he whispered. I was just too scared of what she might say back. As his body weakened, his memories grew stronger. Each night I sat by his bed. Sometimes I stayed long after my shift ended. We didn't always talk. Sometimes we watched the rain slide down the windows. Sometimes he hummed songs I didn't recognize. But other nights he shared more than just memories. He gave me instructions. "Tell them," he said. "Tell them not to wait. Not to wait to say I love you. Not to wait to say I'm sorry. Not to wait to chase what feels right. We waste too much time asking for permission to be happy." He didn't fear death. He feared irrelevance. Not being remembered. Not being useful. And that fear made him brutally honest about his failures, about his selfishness, about his moments of courage and cowardice alike. He told me that bravery wasn't about facing danger. It was about facing the truth. "Doc," he said one night, eyes barely open, voice gravelly, "most people live like there's going to be a big finish, some moment where it all makes sense, but it never comes. Life doesn't summarize itself. You have to gather the pieces while you can." And so I did. I gathered his pieces. I listened like it was my final exam in the study of human life. Because I realized something. We don't need grand philosophies. We need lived ones. Wisdom that's been tested. That's what he gave me. He said, eat slowly, forgive often, talk to strangers, spend money on memories, not things, take care of your knees, laugh when it's inappropriate, hold your mother's hand, tell your father you're proud, call your siblings, travel light in luggage and in spirit, and above all else, don't wait. You don't get to choose your last conversation, he said, but you get to choose all the ones before it. The night before he passed, I asked if he had any final thoughts. He smiled faintly and said, "Yeah, make your life worth the story." When he died, the room didn't feel empty. It felt full, like the air itself was heavy with everything he had shared. I sat beside him long after. I thought about how many people out there are living quiet lives of almosts, of maybes, of next years, of someday. If you're listening to this, don't be one of them. Tell the person you miss that you miss them. Make peace with the version of you that didn't know better. Write down what you're grateful for. Watch a sunrise without taking a photo. Live in moments, not milestones. Because one day someone will sit in a quiet room remembering you. And the only question that will matter is, what did you leave behind? That 67-year-old man didn't leave behind wealth or fame. He left behind wisdom. And now it's yours. Don't just listen, live it. Because the most unforgettable stories aren't the ones we hear. They're the ones we become. More to come? Some stories don't end when a person passes. They echo through the people who were listening. This was one of those stories. A 67-year-old man, in the last 3 weeks of his life, gave more than most give in a lifetime. He didn't just talk, he handed over pieces of himself, lessons carved out of joy, regret, and everything in between. He reminded us that life isn't about how long we live, but how deeply we do. That love isn't something to hoard, apologies aren't something to delay, and memories aren't something to save for later. He didn't preach, he simply shared what time had taught him, and sometimes the quietest voices leave the loudest echoes. Through him, we learn that the biggest mistakes often come from waiting too long, to speak, to forgive, to feel. That the legacy we leave behind isn't in achievements or titles, but in how we made people feel, what we shared, and how we showed up in our ordinary days. He asked us to stop chasing the perfect ending, and instead start collecting the right moments. To laugh more, say what we mean, let go of pride, travel light, and live like the conversations we have today might be the ones someone remembers tomorrow. So here it is, plain and simple. Don't wait. Make your life worth the story, because someone someday will sit quietly remembering you. And when they do, let them smile. Not because you were perfect, but because you truly lived.